Ants marching sounds very, very different than most of the stuff that we usually cover too.
Yeah.
So tell me some of your rationale for this song. Because it just stylistically sounds very, very different to me. And genre wise, I don't know where to place it exactly. I just know it's funky.
Yeah, it is. Dave Matthews, generally speaking, is a lot funkier, and that comes from Stefan Lessard, the bass player, who is like pretty dramatically younger than them, and they kind of saw him playing at like the club or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this little white kid has got like serious skills." And Carter Beauford, who's the drummer, who has like one of those big ass drum kits that goes almost all the way around him too, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's one of the he's one of my favorite drummers to listen to. Like, and he's one of the more technically proficient ones too, obviously. But he's up there with the and he's where the groove comes from, right? Like he's why when you call it funky, that's where it's coming from.
He better drummer than what's his name? Dan Henley. You got that right?
Don Henley, technically, yeah, probably, yeah. Um,
Okay, I'm just looking for context so that I
Yeah,
understand where he
he's like
is.
if you're saying like Neil Peart is like the guy from Rush is like the very top of the top of
Okay,
technically skilled, um, and John Bonham of Led Zeppelin is the like heaviest one, like the
right.
um, and he's a funky version of the like he's up there in that stratosphere to me. I mean,
Wait,
there are people who
so,
wouldn't say that necessarily, but like I think he's what he brings to the band is that important.
so since we having a funk conversation right quick and we're talking drummers, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
to the top of what I would call the black heap right quick.
yeah,
Well, literally, there is a song by James Brown called "The Funky Drummer," which is based
mhm,
on Clyde Stubblefield,
yeah,
and I know you are familiar with
yeah.
James Brown. So, where would you put this funky white boy
No, he's
in
not white. He's a black
relationship
guy. He's
to?
the drummer's a black guy.
Oh shit, you
Yeah,
got
which
inside
which is part of the
information.
funk too. Like, yeah, the
Oh,
the drummer is black. Boyd Tinsley, the violinist who got kicked out, is black. Leroy Moore, who's a saxophone player, died in 2009. And you can listen to the pre-live shows pre 2009, and you can hear that saxophone in there, man. Some that's some funky shit right there. He's black. He died and he had an ATV accident, riding around the hills or whatever, and then got on a plane and he was fine or fine-ish and got on a plane to go to the hospital. Not to the hospital. I'm saying that wrong. He got on the plane to fly back to Los Angeles, which is where he was living now, and he had a clot and stroked out on the plane, um, in 2009. And so, um, and then now present tense. They had a guy named Rashawn
this
Ross, who's a trumpet player, and Buddy Strong is keys.
man's
Um,
been
hmm?
man's been through a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most bands who have been around their first show was I think 1991. So like
Right?
so they've been what 30 years?
3 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 decades.
So you're gonna have some stuff like everybody's gonna have
So,
some stuff over 30 years, right?
so I'm going to tell you, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. Okay, so the thing that really struck to me, the song, and I'm not being funny, and this goes back to the whole Dave Chappelle thing about the melodies and stuff
Hmm.
that different genres and different class of
Yeah.
people. Oh, well, I heard the drums and it made me think of Clyde Stubblefield from
Yeah.
James Brown. And
I'm sure
that's
he
where
comes
I
from
was,
that tradition, I bet. I
it
don't know
sounds
that,
like
but
it. Sounds like I was like, whoever this white dude is, he sounds like he's inspired by Clyde Stubblefield to me, like drum
mhm,
wise. And that's why I
mhm.
was like, oh, you're like, he's black. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. It's like
Yep.
that's one of Clyde
No,
Stubblefield kids. And I can hear the funk in it. The
yeah.
funky drummer. You know,
He
yeah.
is a funky drummer for sure.
No, he
Uh,
is like the drums were funky on there. It's the first thing that I noticed about the record, and it's like I was like I can't front when I heard it. I was like I feel so black for noticing the drums first.
no, I mean it is groove centric music for sure. Like
Okay,
and like you've implied too, like this came out, not this song, but the band started um its rise shortly after Nirvana did. Like so they're coming up through the things at the same time.
this
This Ants
stylistic
Marching was
approach.
94, I think, like when it was released, Under the Table and Dreaming. So it would have been after that a little bit. But it's white for context, it's white people music. Like um it's got a white front man and guitarist and so forth and songwriter primarily. But it's not based on guitars really. I mean, it has guitar in it, but it's not guitar music, right?
So I think we're getting down to why it sounds different. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to say this like respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
This band appears to make music just from this song that I'm hearing and
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying. Well, they're making music, not to be funny, the way black people tend to construct music, which is usually around the drums and the keys first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into your guitar stuff. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas usually what we cover, and that's what I mean about it stylistically being different, a lot of the stuff that we listen to on the popular culture side,
Mm-hmm.
it's the guitar.
Yeah.
It's the guitar. It's the style of guitar. It is the person playing the guitar.
Right. And the
That,
songwriter, yeah, sure. They're the
that
ones
matters.
that are the
Right. And so this feels different. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And not being funny, it just feels like it's more made in the vein of how traditional black music is in terms of what my ears are hearing.
Yeah. I would, yeah. They do it more collectively for sure. I still think
Yeah.
I don't know this for sure, but I'm still pretty sure that Dave is like the primary songwriter and he's doing stuff on guitar. But like, if you watch normal guitarists on mute and you're not listening to what they're playing, you're just watching their hands move and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, there are patterns that you'll see like in traditional guitar playing, like because most of it is based on the punk ethos, which is like power chords, or so you'll see like you'll see that kind of thing going on, or you'll see like blues scale stuff. Most of it's based on like I said, Zeppelin is like one of those OG bands. Like everybody's trying to do a version of that. But what you're seeing with Dave Matthews' hand is much more rhythmic, I guess. Like they joke about him having monkey hands because like his I can't even do it. Like I I can play reasonable recognizable versions of most white people songs, like not as well as them obviously, but like I can play so you can
I get what you're
recognize it.
saying.
I can't play the shit that he plays, like because
You
his
can't play what
hand
he
just
plays.
does things that I can't do, and he's singing these vocal licks and playing something completely different with his hand like this at a different rhythm. And I have a like you see my skin, I have a hard enough time with rhythm doing it when I'm playing anyway, but he's got like one funky rhythm coming out of his mouth and another funky rhythm going with his hand too. He's playing these weird ass chords and stuff. So it's
He's different.
yeah, he's a different dude. He's a different dude. Um,
See, most of these guys that are frontmen of these bands that we cover,
mhm,
they kind of fall in certain boxes.
mhm.
Like Mick, Robert,
Yeah,
um,
Lennon. Yeah,
Freddie,
yeah,
Lennon.
yeah,
No, they can fit in certain boxes. That's what I mean about something about them sounds different to me. So
yeah,
when you're saying all this, it's confirming musically what I'm hearing. It's like, no, this guy and this band is different stylistically
yeah.
than stuff that genre wise, I guess they are kind of put in the box, but they do not fit in that box necessarily.
No,
And from what you're saying, he does not fit in that box either as a front
mhm.
man and as an artist or as a
No,
guitarist.
definitely not.
So this is more funk inspired than rock inspired, is
Yeah,
really what I'm hearing.
yeah. Um, play that funky music, White Boy. They play, Sly and the Family Stone. They play, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And they play
I can
James
hear it.
Brown. They play all those things when they play live too.
Mm-hmm.
Sledgehammer, Peter Gabriel, um, like they have the stuff, even the stuff that they cover is often more funk inspired too. I mean, it's
Right, right.
that kind of stuff because they have the chops to do it. Like that stuff is not easy to play, right? Is not easy at all. So they have the chops to do it, which
Those
is
who
cool.
can,
Yeah.
right? Those who can, yeah.
Mhm. Hey y'all, thanks for making it to the end of this video. If you love this, check out this video right here. It's another one that where Coop and I are talking about how two songs go together that you wouldn't maybe think go together. So thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.